Patreon has spoken. Special thank you to Zeno Salvador, Emerald Wolf, and Twilight Duck for donating and voting. This week we are doing the green smoke spewing, tentacle hentai loving, lanky zombie sniper himself. This week we have a vote in, and its special infected profile, the Smoker. The smoker's mutation, stemming from many what would assume comes from a lifetime of heavy smoking, the tar and cancerous buildup in the lungs triggering the mutation in the green flu symptoms of a victim, causing large tumors to develop throughout the host body, most prominently on the left side of his face. This tumor could also be a fungus, since infected individuals literally can have parts of their body die or wither, exposing the host to a number of fungi to spread and culminate. This buildup also accumulating high levels of noxious gas, what appears as smoke, which gradually fumes from his orifices and fully puffs out when he dies. Like many people who have been toking on cigarettes since puberty, the smoker's voice has become raspy, kind of like a grandma at a Las Vegas casino. The most noticeable feature of the smoker, besides its, smoke, is the protruding tongues from its mouth and eventually in L4D2 the sides of its head. While most refer to it and believe it to be a tongue, I and some others feel like it's more of an intestinal tract protruding from its body. While a tongue can only grow to about a foot or so, intestines can literally stretch out for miles. Earlier I said that the boils and gross bulbs developed on the smoker's head could be a form of fungi, and when a fungi grows long enough, they can develop tentacle-like appendages all over. This could be the cause of why the smoker leans so prominently to the right, since he has so much weight from his boils and tumors on the left side of his body. One of these tentacles, or the survivors would call it, the tongue, is used as his primary method of attacking uninfected individuals. When a smoker has spotted his prey, he will let out a billowing, raspy scream and project his tongue at high speeds and literally lasso a survivor towards him. Looks like the smoker's got a little Texas in him. One more important thing to note about the smoker's smoke, it is always protruding from its head, so when he is going away from his position, he can pretty much use it as a yellow brick road to find his location, much like the spitter's saliva when it's walking around. While pulling a survivor, they will be helplessly dragged out until either they hit an obstructing surface, falls off an edge where they somehow catch themselves, or come completely to the smoker where he will proceed to claw them to death on top of being strangled. If the smoker is successful in killing a survivor with his pull, a loud bone-cracking sound can be heard, possibly the spine of the survivor. Makes the world go round. If the tongue is broken off, the smoker will need 15 seconds to regenerate another reusable tongue to attack once again. This 15-second charge only occurs if the smoker lands a successful pull for a second or more, and then the tongue is broken. If the tongue shoots out and misses its target, think of it as a fisher reeling in his line. Realistically speaking though, how could a creature such as the smoker continue to summon up yards upon yards of organs that can tighten up enough to kill someone? Besides the fungus explanation to creating tentacle-like appendages, we can also look to the smoker's obvious links with cancer. Cancer can lead to the Hayflick limit breaking. The Hayflick limit is basically how many times a cluster of cells can keep dividing themselves before they have reached their limit. The limit of division of cells being anywhere between 40 to 60 times. This limit a cause of aging, but also if the limit were to break and to see how cancer can grow exponentially, the smoker's mutations may have developed upon itself enough where both of these principles to the point where regenerating organs like the intestines would be possible in a hyperactive state. So basically what I'm saying is the organs are regenerating enough to where he could just vomit them as much as he wants. This theory can somewhat be backed up with how the smoker evolved into his more tumor-like state in L4D2, with somewhat of a puffed up frog tumor under his throat. This mass under its throat could possibly be a sporadic evolutionary tactic for the smoker and its predatory nature in order to regenerate his tongue faster, kind of like a clip in a gun. He's storing all of his intestines in that frog-like sack. Now, to stop the smoker from pulling someone, the survivors can either melee the survivor being pulled, shoot or cut the tongue, or just go old school and shoot the ever-living hell out of the smoker. Upon death, the smoker will release a billow of green, foul-smelling smoke that doesn't harm the survivors, but causes them to cough uncontrollably while passing through, revealing the survivors' silhouettes and locations to other special infected. Now, on to using him effectively in L4D2's versus mode, the smoker is one of the least favorite special infected to use for me, simply because it's more of a wait and see what happens kind of a special infected versus a charger or boomer who can initiate an attack for the group to follow through on. The smoker should and must be viewed as somewhat of a sniper amongst the infected, keeping in mind that snipers prefer the high ground and rooftops on their enemies as well as distance. Always keep in mind that he is the only long distance pinning infected, while the other pinning infected, the charger, jockey, and hunter, have to be in direct contact with the survivor. The smoker has some survivability if he attacks from a hard to shoot at vantage point. Once you have a target in your reticle, you can execute your main attack as long as the circle is red over a survivor. Keep in mind when trying to pull a survivor of where they might be 1 to 2 seconds after the tongue is deployed. If a survivor gets behind an obstacle, the tongue will miss and you'll have to wait 3 seconds before you can shoot it out again. Be careful once you shoot your tongue out though. You will give out a giant swooshing sound effect and it'll give away your position that you're attempting to attack someone, and the group may get more together and defensive.
The smoking thing! Hey.
You can easily identify when a smoker is a bot because they will completely stand still when they spot their prey and then attack. And it is possible for 2 smokers to exist at once, either 2 bot smokers or 1 player controlled smoker and 1 bot controlled smoker. I don't know what the algorithm behind that is, but it's there nonetheless. As the smoker, you should always try to attack those that stray from the flock. That's just common sense. Those that are low on health, and you should also get anybody that's lagging behind their ranks or those that are least distracted in a panic, so the other distracted survivors won't realize their friend has been dragged away. The smoker's tongue also has the ability to pass through fences and other thin objects. The smoker is also excellent in the regard that he can pull someone over an edge and put them in a living on the edge kind of state. Causing a survivor to go into a helpless hanging state can make the survivors easier pickings with one possibly temporarily out of the picture. This can also prove to be a brilliant setup for the charger since he can charge off a survivor attempting to get their teammate back on their feet. On that note, always coordinate with your team to pull a synergetic attack. Smoking someone in front of an insta-kill spot will make the charger's life much easier since you'll be able to keep the survivor completely still, whereas the jockey will continue to move sporadically in place and the charger might miss his big opportunity. The smoker can also pull survivors through a pool of spit, causing extra damage, and like I said earlier, once an initiating attack like a charger is executed, try and pull the survivor that is least seen by the group while they stare at the person who is taking a trip in the other direction. The smoker is also cunning enough to pull survivors towards the witch. While he pulls someone towards her, those who are not pinned will either have to rush the survivor and melee the tongue off, shoot at the smoker and risk hitting the witch, or just allow the witch to hit the poor survivor. The same can be said for the car alarms, as the smoker can hide most of his body behind a blinking vehicle and pull people towards the alarm and alert a horde. Be careful though, a well-aiming sniper rifle to your head can easily dispatch you in an instant. And also, bots sometimes will not set off these alarms even if you perfectly set them up. I know it's BS, but that's just how it is. We gotta work with it. Besides the smoker's pulling ability, he also has a secondary scratch attack like all of his other special infected counterparts. The smoker can deal 4 points of damage per hit, but like I said earlier, the smoker is a sniper infected, and his base 250 health isn't too suitable for attacking head on. However, if you find yourself the only living infected and see a survivor within 2 points of going down, you may want to jump in and give them a good old bitch slap.
God damn it.
One more trick that is difficult to pull off and super situational is to smoke a survivor up an infected climb ladder. This can only be achieved if there's another infected that can climb the ladder. Once they're climbing, they will push the survivor upwards and they can get them to the highest point. If the hunter's there to do it, he can hunt them and they can fall to their death or just take a lot of fall damage. If you are staring down a smoker by yourself, there are a few things you can do depending on what weapons you have available. If you have a chainsaw and use it while the tongue is coming at you, the tongue will instantly break. You're pretty much invincible to the smoker at that point. Any melee weapon can achieve this same result, but requires precision timing to execute. If you're on an even level with the smoker, you can attempt to shoot him before and while he drags you. The first second of you being pulled, you are still free to attack however you wish. Use that split second to damage the smoker as much as possible to either kill him or make him a very weak target for your friends. That about covers the science, history, and battle strats on the Smoker. Before we wrap up this video, I'll throw in a dash of trivia for the Smoker fans out there. Out of every special infected, including the tank, the Smoker is the tallest, and they say smoking stunts your growth. Ha! Don't smoke, kids. The Smoker was ranked number 3 in Game Informer's magazine's Top 10 Villains of 2008, stating there's nothing more terrifying than being dragged up the side of a building and realizing that there's nothing you can do to save yourself. In early versions of the game, the Smoker's cloud upon death was supposed to damage survivors as long as they stood in it. This was removed and now the smoke is harmless, but several modified servers re-enable this feature. One thing I'd like to note is how you could shoot a smoker, but when you view a survivor getting smoked and shooting, they are completely turned around with no gun in hand. It just looks funny. And I'd like to throw this out there too. Some people have been saying I've been plagiarizing this from Valve Time. I've been plagiarizing this from Behind the Horror. I honestly have not even watched those. I'm literally going to the Left 4 Dead Wikia. Yeah, I do get some of the sentences, but hey, I work 2 jobs trying to get these out to you guys as fast as possible. It's not easy making these videos once per week. So I'm just letting you know, go to the Left 4 Dead Wikia. You can get all the information you want on these infected and even more strats than what I've said. Just go to Left 4 Dead Wikia. All my sources come from there. Boom! There's your info. There's your facts. Ha! Also, big shout out to BG Bean. She has been supporting me scrupulously with all these clips she's been sending me. Big shout out to her. Make sure to subscribe to her channel. She got that Left 4 Dead SFM on deck, and she's never going to release Dark Carnival. Is there anything I missed? Was there an insta-kill spot I didn't mention? Well, I can always put that in a future video. Which special infected should be next? Donate to my Patreon so you can vote. I'm thinking it might be either the Jockey or Boomer coming up, but it's all up to you if you go to my Patreon. And also, Cake always wants to mention how each special infected survives falls because he's being a smartass. Let me just say, regeneration. He has a regeneration health ability and it goes to his joints. Boom. There we go. Out of the way. But like, comment, and subscribe. Go to my Discord. I got the link in the description. And don't forget to hit the bell so you can keep getting notifications from me. And until next Friday, we'll have another special infected profile then. And always, stay wow!
Smoker face, it's a smoker face. Grab and peel. Smoker face, it's a smoker face. Grab and peel.